Everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business Live. I'm looking forward to talking with Heather Fortner. Heather, it's great to connect with you. You are the CEO of SignatureFD, where you really bring the understanding of the relationship between wealth and worth. Let's talk about that because, I think that a lot of times people, and I see this as a business coach, think community, we're going to talk a lot about wealth today and wealth creation and what your worth is. And as you all know, I'm a business coach and I get people who are stuck, unstuck, and our guests on Think Business get people unstuck too. Mm-hmm. And so let's talk about it. One of the things I see, Heather, in my field is that people don't understand what their worth is, or it's hard for them to say, hey, I can make more than my parents, or I can make more than this, and here's what my worth is. Let's just start there with the kind of the mindset and the psyche of worth.
Yeah, you just opened up Pandora's box, right? Like how people view themselves, how they value themselves, how they value their businesses, what they think is possible. That mindset alone is, that could be 10 different episodes if you wanted. SignatureFD, what we really believe is that net worthwhile, the things that you find worthwhile in life, ultimately that it takes wealth, it takes time, money, talent, resources, all of those things to pursue the things that you find worthwhile. A lot of times people haven't spent intentional time actually focused on the things that they find worthwhile because they're busy, doing all the other things that life requires. So we just really believe that if you're intentional, not only about your wealth, about the things that you have as resources, because at the end of the day, money's just a tool. Yeah. And you are intentional about aligning your wealth to the pursuit of the things that you find worthwhile, that at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you won't have lived with regret.
Yeah. My wife's grandfather always used to say, rich or poor, it's better to have money.
That's so money, everybody has to have it, right?
You need to have it.
One thing.
Yeah.
We all require.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I interrupted you for a moment. But I want to talk about intention, right? Yeah. Because I want to talk about intention and carving out time for intention. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important. Can you talk about, I find that people who work with people like you, Heather, people like me, they're forced to create the space to do the things that they don't normally do. Because you said kind of, life gets in the way. I'm putting different words to what you said, but life gets in the way and it's hard to carve out that time. So talk about, kind of give the formula of intention.
Yeah, I love that. So just this morning, literally at 5:30 this morning, I was on the phone with my coach texting, going, hey, something happened yesterday. It's on my brain. It's really exploding my brain here. I need some help thinking through this. But I'm intentional about creating that space very early in the mornings where everyone's still asleep. I can have a cup of coffee. It's quiet. And I can allow myself really uninterrupted space to think about the things that matter most. Now, my day starts, the kids get up at 6:30, right? You're off to the races. There is no space to be able to say, nope, right now, I'm just thinking about this one thing, but I'm responsible, right? Yeah. I'm responsible for creating that space in my own world.
Yeah. And let's talk about some tools. What I love about, as a business coach, I have a mantra to my clients. I return every call, text, email, same day, because of what you're talking about. Hey, I have something, I got to work through it. Mm-hmm. And it's better to have a professional to go to that can work through it with you in 2 to 5 minutes. Absolutely. And to carry it for, 1, 2, 3+ weeks. But I want to talk to you about just kind of your morning routine a little bit, because I think people are trying to figure that out right now on a new level as they're getting back to work, as the hybrid model is getting more back to the office. I coach a lot. One of my keynotes is time, focus, and energy management, because it's not just about time. It's about the focus, and it's about what energy in the day is best for you. As you're talking about mornings. And so talk about how you choose to do what you do when throughout the day you choose to do it.
Yeah, I love that concept of energy management. I think that is so under talked about and so underutilized. So for me, I've always been an early bird. That 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. window is just really my sweet spot because it is really the only time of the day. I've got a 5-year-old, I've got a 7-month-old infant at home. It is really the only time of the day that's really owned by me. And so being intentional about protecting that space is critically important. And that's what it is, right? It's protecting that space because life will come at you and you'll want to get it. But the other thing that I've found, especially because now I do have an infant and sometimes, she's not sleeping through the night and I'm super tired at 4 a.m., right?
Right.
Blocking time on my calendar to say, no, today or for this period of time, this is me. And it may be that during that time frame, I need a cup of coffee and I just need, to refocus. I need to go take a walk. I need to go outside and regroup. But building those times intentionally into my calendar has been so helpful for me because it's my time. It is not allowed, for other people to take that time. So I think sometimes we forget that we're empowered to own our own time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that we need to recalibrate through the day.
Absolutely.
Right? We're not superheroes. No, 100%. In my calendar, I have time that says like take a walk outside or walk around the, the office. Right. No, I think that's great. Thanks for sharing.
Jon, I think one of the things that's as a leader very important for us to remember is that when other people see that time on our calendars, it gives them permission to do the same.
Yeah.
Because if we are superheroes and we hold ourselves out as superheroes, which we all know is false and not true, then the expectation that other people have of themselves is false and not true as well. So we lead by example.
No, I agree. And most leaders don't realize that 95% of everything they do and they say and how they work through the day is being modeled and looked at and really setting the tone for the culture.
Absolutely.
I want to move on to talk about wealth and what you do, but I just want to put this out there. Think community. We're talking a lot about time management right now. I have a 7-day free course on time management. It's 2 minutes a day for a week. It'll, and I touch on a lot of the things that Heather and I are actually talking about right now. Let's talk about building wealth in today's market. We're all watching as we record this August 30th, 2022 live. We have all seen the volatility of the stock market.
Yeah.
What goes up must come down. What goes down must come up. Right. So how do you build wealth in a transitioning market?
I think that's a great question. I think it all comes back to one of the ways that we think about wealth at SignatureFD is in a bucketed strategy: grow, protect, give, and live. And all of the behavioral finance research shows that when people can actually think about their wealth in a bucketed strategy, it frees them up to think differently about fear, anxiety, what's possible. So if we believe that the 4 buckets are grow, protect, give, and live, those are the 4 things that you can do with your wealth. And if I need to protect these things, these are the things in my world that I need to ensure are protected no matter what. These are the things in my world that I need to be thinking about from a legacy or a giving perspective. This is how much I need to live. This is how much I have to grow. If you can really think about bucketing your wealth that way, it creates opportunities for you to say, you know what, I can probably take more risk here in this grow bucket, but I'm not going to take the risk in my protect bucket. So I'm going to ensure that the things that need to be protected, they're protected. That way I have the confidence and the ability and the hope and the wherewithal to take a little more risk in my grow bucket because I know that time horizon is a little longer. Yeah. Or, hey, you know what? I don't need to take as much risk in my grow bucket because, quite frankly, my live needs right now, what I need in order to consume right now in order to live, is a little bit more. And so it really gives you some flexibility that I think mentally and emotionally around wealth people need in order to structure and build appropriately.
Yeah. I love the way you put it in the buckets, because those big buckets can change by day, by season,
That's exactly
by
right.
circumstance, right?
Absolutely, they can.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they can.
And having somebody to guide them, is really, really important as your life just evolves, change, adjusts, and moves. Let's talk about what it takes to be a leader today. You talked a little bit about having stuff in your calendar. What does it take to be a leader today in a post-COVID, not that COVID's still not going on, but in a kind of in a post-COVID work world, in a hybrid flex work world? What's the responsibilities of a leader today?
Can we even talk about the fact that I think a lot of people are talking about post-COVID and flexibility, but let's talk about the focus on diversity. Let's talk about the focus on equity and inclusion. Let's talk about the issues that we're all facing as leaders that most of us probably aren't as educated in that we need to be. I think that is the number one responsibility of every leader today, is you do not have the ability to be ignorant anymore.
Correct.
You must get educated, and get educated quickly in the areas that you do not know about in order to lead well. Because I will tell you that the people that are in your organizations, or that you want to hire in your organizations, if you are not a leader that they want to follow, they will not come. And in a market where talent is as short as it is, and they have the optionality to go just about anywhere, I think that is probably the number one responsibility of any leader today.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Secondarily, I think that transparency and authenticity, I think you have to be authentic with the fact that you don't know what's coming. Just like, nobody could have predicted COVID. Nobody could have predicted that seismic shift. And quite frankly, I'm not sure that we can stand in front of groups of people right now and say we know what's coming, because we don't.
Yeah. I love everything you just said. I agree with it. I've interviewed a bunch of people who specialize in inclusion and diversity on this show. And it's really important that everybody in the boardroom doesn't look the same.
That's exactly.
There needs to be diversity, because the ideas and the growth of companies is completely different. And as we look forward to this next decade, and the Gen Zs and the millennials are all on that page, which I think is great.
Absolutely. And I think people are speaking, consumers are speaking with their dollars at this point. And if they don't believe in what your organization is standing for, is actually transacting in the community and in the marketplace, you're not going to get the business.
Yeah. Let's also just kind of add on to the conversation that you're talking about, the amount of women as CEOs. I have a 16-year-old daughter who's going to be a powerhouse in the business world as the years move forward. Different studies show different numbers, but about 15% of CEOs at Fortune 500 companies. Globally, I think it's 5, 7, or 8% CEOs. And so how do women get more into the C-suite, and what is the responsibility of the men in the world to help that happen?
I love the fact that you just said that. First of all, I think it's a shame that we have to talk about this. Right? That the fact that it's an issue is a shame, but it is, and I'm grateful that we're having the conversation. We don't do this by ourselves. It's not that a bunch of women get together and we decide we're going to, take over the world and be a bunch of CEOs, right? It is going to require everyone. But the conversation is no different as it relates to minorities, as it relates to any type of diversity. It is the same conversation, which it requires all of us to be educated, to understand why it's an issue, and then to be an ally to the people in our world, in our community, in our lives that need that support. The reason your daughter is going to be a powerhouse is because you believe in her, because you support her, because you empower her and inspire her and tell her she can be a CEO. Right? That message alone is powerful. And then you will come alongside of her and ensure that she has people in her world that are supporting her. that requires everyone. And
Yeah.
I think that the sooner we all recognize that we have a part to play in changing the environments that we're in, right, that's what unlocks the key, is we all work together.
Good. I love it. I love it. All right. So before we move into a quick speed round, tell everybody who your ideal clients are and where they can connect with you. Your website is signaturefd.com, but just give everybody kind of a an idea of who your clients are and how they can connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing I love about SignatureFD is the fact that we have multiple different client communities: Signature Pro, Signature Women, Signature Exec, Signature Entrepreneur. We have advisors that are technically able to service all types of clients specifically to certain client communities. But I think really ultimately the ideal client for us is a delegator and someone who really wants to pursue their individual net worthwhile and have a quality wealth plan that's wrapped around that to enable that pursuit.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you say a delegator, because the person who's a do-it-yourselfer won't necessarily surrender.
Nope.
Right. No, absolutely. I love it. All right, quick speed round. A book, Heather, that's had the biggest impact on you.
Oh God, $1 Trillion Coach. I was just talking about it today. It is an amazing story of how one man leaned in with love to empower and coach and talk about the hard things for other executives of massive companies that made massive impact in the world.
Yeah. By Bill Campbell. I actually downloaded that book about 2 months ago, I think. I haven't listened to it yet, but now you've inspired me to
It is phenomenal.
Now you've inspired me to put it top of my list. Thank you. Piece of wisdom that said the best piece of wisdom you've ever received.
Oh God, trust your gut.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Trust your gut.
Finish this sentence. Somebody who's uncomfortable and doesn't know what the first step is to do with their wealth or building of wealth is?
Google www.signaturefd.com.
Okay, good. I like it. Think community. We talked about a lot today, and I'm going to just kind of extract one thing that to me is something that is important for myself and all of us to think about when it comes to getting unstuck. And that is move with intention. Moving with intention on a daily basis is really, really important. One of the things I do every morning is write something I'm grateful for and what my intention for the day is. It's always, especially in this adjusting world that we're in, to know how we kind of move through the day with intention and gratitude can really get us grounded. Heather, I appreciate everything that you shared today. Any last thoughts?
No, thank you for having me. I love gratitude. It sets your mind to a place where you can recognize the blessings that you have been given, and then sets the framework to give it back to others, which is how we make impact in the world.
Yeah. Amen. Think community, SignatureFD. If you want to get a hold of Heather, JonDwoskin.com. If you want to get a hold of me. Have an amazing day, everybody. Heather, Think community. Thank you, Heather. Appreciate you very much. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody.